I filed for the tax refund under head of household without telling my husband. The same week he told his mother I don't really contribute. Marcus and I have been married for 6 years. 2 kids, 7 and 4. I went back to work part-time after our youngest started preschool, so I'm in the office 2 days a week and home the other 3. What I do with those 3 days would probably surprise people who've never actually done it. 2 school runs, grocery shopping, a pediatrician follow-up for our youngest's ongoing ear situation, laundry, a permission slip I found crumpled at the bottom of a backpack at 8 p.m., a 20-minute phone call to fix a billing error at the after-school program that Marcus didn't even know existed. I'm not saying this to complain. I'm just telling you what the job is. We've always filed taxes separately. We've done it that way since before the kids because Marcus has a small side business and his accountant said it made more sense to split them. I've always just filed married filings separately and gotten a few $100s back if I was lucky. My friend Dana is a CPA. Back in February, we were getting coffee and I was venting about how our joint account always runs short in March because Marcus underpays his estimated taxes and then has to scramble to cover it. She started asking me questions. One of them was who the kids live with primarily, who manages their daily care, handles appointments, covers their expenses day to day. I said, well, me, pretty much entirely. She said, have you ever looked into filing as head of household? I hadn't. I went home that night and looked it up. So this year I did it. Filed head of household, claimed both kids, took the child tax credits. My refund came back at $6,400. I have never gotten more than $800 in my life. I watched the deposit hit our joint savings on a Tuesday morning, transferred it to my personal account, and didn't say a word. Marcus checks that account maybe twice a year. The same week I filed, his mom called to go over Easter plans. She and I are fine, not close, but civil. We talk on the phone a few times a year. We'd been on for about 15 minutes when right at the end she said Marcus had mentioned I wasn't really working much these days. Then she said, and I could tell she was trying to soften something. He said you don't really contribute financially but that he appreciates you being home for the kids. I said he said that? She paused and said she was sure he didn't mean it the way it sounded. I said of course and we hung up and I sat on the couch for a while. I went through our joint checking account. 4 months back, I put in $1,800 a month from my part-time salary. Out of that I cover the kids' activities, their school lunches, all the household supplies, most of the groceries. Marcus pays the mortgage and utilities. I had always understood that as splitting things. Apparently he was doing different math. I didn't say anything to him about the phone call. I just waited. Easter was at his parents' house. His dad grilled. His mom made her potato salad, and at some point during dinner his dad said something about how nice it must be that I have so much flexibility in my schedule. His mom nodded along. Marcus didn't say anything, just reached for more bread. I smiled and asked if anyone wanted more potato salad. On the drive home he said his mom thought I seemed happy lately. I said, He glanced over at me and asked if everything was okay. I said everything was fine. About 10 days later, he was looking for something in the joint savings on his phone. He came into the kitchen while I was making the kids' lunches and asked what the $6 deposit was. I said it was my tax refund. He said that couldn't be right. I never get that much back. He asked what I did differently. I said I filed as head of household this year, claimed the kids. He just looked at me. You can do that? I kept putting grapes in the little container and said, apparently I contribute enough to qualify. He was quiet for a second. Then he said, I never said you don't contribute. I put the lid on and said, your mom seemed to think you did. He said he was just venting when he talked to her, that it came out wrong, that he didn't actually think that. I said, okay. He said it wasn't fair that she repeated it. I told him I agreed with him on that one. Then after a minute, he asked if I was going to keep filing that way going forward. I said, as long as I'm the one doing everything for the kids, yes. He poured his coffee and left for work. Both kids start summer camp in July. Deposits already paid.